Welcome. This is an actual play of a role-playing game. All the participants are adults. The content is intended for adult viewers. We strive to keep the content PG to PG-13, but it is a horror story and may contain horror themes. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy. Well, happy Sunday. What's a better thing to do on a Sunday than drop a bunch of kids in a haunted house and play some Call of Cthulhu? This is episode 2 of our run at the adventure from Kevin Ross called The Dare. And it uses slightly adjusted rules for 7th edition, which is labeled Kid Cthulhu. Our 4 players are all playing 11-year-olds. And if you have not watched episode 1, highly recommend you do that, but very quickly they have been dared by Roger Simmons to come into this haunted house, or rumored to be haunted house. It's called the Barnaker House. It's an old Victorian house on the outskirts of town. We're in the suburbs of Boston right now. There is a huge thunderstorm outside. The clouds had just started rolling in when the kids went inside, but now that they've been in for coming on close to an hour now, we can hear the rain, we can hear the thunder, we can see the flash of lightning between the closed shutters of the windows all throughout the house. When they came in, they immediately went upstairs to the 2nd floor. They explored some of the rooms. They found some bedrooms. They found a master bedroom, a boy's bedroom, a girl's bedroom. They found a burned up bedroom where a fire had been started at some point. But more importantly than anything, that they found in the master bedroom closet a body. And upon leaving that, they came into the upper hallway and were met by their bully, the person who dared them to be here, Mr. Roger Simmons. And good old Julia once again stands in front of him face to face to stand up to the bully. As the most popular girl in school, she thinks she has the best chance, I think, of putting poor Roger in his place. And when you stood up to him, you had done it before, as we talked about in school, and you had known that he fears you. But he didn't have that look in his eyes this time. And when we closed the episode, I had you notice something very different, and that was his skin. So as he stands there holding this huge kitchen knife, face to face with you, Julia, you see a piece of skin on his cheek kind of peeling off like paint.
Everyone, we should go into the room that Roger doesn't want to go into it right now. I mean, when I say she turns around and books it to try to go into this room.
Paul's right behind her.
Yeah, she is speed of light.
Charles stops moping and gets up and follows.
I think Shirley has a moment of looking at Julia, looking at Roger, looking at everyone else, looking back at Roger, like, oh, and then like there's that moment of like, oh crap, okay, yeah, we're doing things. Let's go.
So you run back into this bedroom, and like I described it before, unlike the other bedrooms, which were just kind of broken down, decayed, maybe ransacked a little bit, this bedroom has been torn to pieces, almost stripped, and any furniture that existed in this room at some point has been broken up and thrown into the corner. And you have this bizarre wood pyre that's been pushed into the corner of the room, and you can see where at some point it had been lit on fire. In fact, it burned some of the curtains to the one window that led outside. And you could still smell the fresh burning smell as if the fire was just, hours ago. So the four of you run into the room, and Roger is not moving, right? He just kind of lets you guys go. He's standing there with the knife. You guys run into the room. Are we going to keep the door open or closed?
Julia will close it.
So Julia, you close the door.
Yeah, and just kind of like put her ear to it to see if he's like running after them, clutching her wand.
You don't
So
hear it.
Julia, what did you see?
Oh my God. Okay, so we know he has a knife, and then that wasn't even the bad part. His skin, it like peeled off.
Skin peeled off?
It
What?
peeled off.
Shirley starts rifling through her pack and she pulls out her book and she is just like frantically, just like flipping through her book frantically. And she's like, I don't, there's nothing in the handbook. There's nothing about haunted houses. There's nothing about skin peeling. There's nothing about dead bodies. There's nothing. And she just flings the book on the floor and kind of like slides herself against the wall, just like completely distraught at this point.
I mean, could it just be puberty? Is that what happens?
I don't.
I
Maybe.
don't think so.
It could be. That's a good point.
I'm gonna check the window.
I think I read something about this in a book. So Charles looks at the pyre. Are there any sticks that he could take and that maybe aren't burned up that he could use kind of to push Roger back?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can get there. Let's go ahead. Maybe like a chair leg.
Okay, awesome. So
Yeah,
Charles,
you grab that out of the pile.
So did you guys? Where was the dead body?
In the room down the hallway.
It's in the closet.
Okay. Does somebody want to go with me and look at it?
No,
I have an idea.
I
Really?
don't. I don't want to do that.
I don't want to see it again.
All right, fine.
You know what? I'll go with you, but we need someone to watch Roger. I don't trust. We need someone standing in the doorway to watch Roger. I don't trust him. I don't want my back to him.
I can watch him, and I'll scream if you start walking toward us.
Okay. But
I'm gonna try this window and see if it opens.
So,
Okay.
Paul, you go to the window, and most of the glass has been broken away. In fact, it looks like most of the lattice that would hold the window panes has also been broken away, maybe even put into the pyre. And so what you're left with is this bare wood, because all the paint has peeled off and worn away, of these huge old Victorian shutters, which they don't make shutters like this anymore. They're thick, thick shutters, and you can see the latch on the inside that's keeping the shutters closed.
I'm gonna open that.
So you flip the latch and you press on it, and yeah, boy, these are heavy. So you press again, and you can feel the shutters give a little bit. So they're reacting to your push, but they're not opening. And because of the way it's pushing and giving a little bit, you don't get a sense that there's anything blocking it on the outside.
And so these would open out?
They would open out, correct.
Ah. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep investigating that while they go check out the body.
Shirley, did you grab a stick?
Is there anything that could be used as a stick?
Oh yeah,
I'll,
yeah. We can have pieces of bed frame. Yeah, anything
I'll take a
equivalent of a
second to look
club.
at the scepter one more time and be like, and then I'll get the stick and I'll pick up my
That
book
scepter is
too,
plastic.
and I've got the book kind of like clutched to my chest, and I've got the stick in the other hand, and I'm sort of holding it up like a club as we go into the hallway.
I'm following behind with my scepter, clutching it like this
All
is
right.
this is her weapon of choice.
So Paul's staying behind. He's pushing on the shutters, and now we've got Julia, Shirley, and Charles are going to go back into the upper hallway. Who's opening the door?
I guess since it's Charles's idea, he'll open the door. But
And
he's
you
got
got-
his stick ready.
So Charles, you open the door, kind of
Really
slowly, and
slowly.
remember you're only 11, so this doorknob
Mhm.
is about like chin level, right? So it's opening the door, and you see some of the candles that are lighting the hallway, but no sign of Roger from where you are. Are we going to continue opening the door?
Yeah.
So you continue to open the door, and it's a heavy door. And oddly, you see some of the scorch marks on the inside of this door as well. And you could swear you smell like that burning coming even from the door itself. And you open the door completely and kind of peek your head out. Look this way in the hall, that way in the hall. What's in front of you is we've already determined, not very secure railing that then leads to the open staircase afterwards. There does not seem to be any sign of Roger.
Okay. I slowly step out with my stick in the air. And the room we're going to is right next door, right?
So it'll be just down the hall to the right,
Okay.
and then it'll be on the left-hand side. So basically, you have to kind of go around the opened area of the staircase, and just around there is the master bedroom. So the door to the right is where the boys' bedroom was. On the
Okay.
left is the master bedroom.
and Shirley's following behind him, Scooby-Doo style, like exaggerated sneakiness.
So we've got Julia pulling up the rear.
Yeah, I will look back at Paul and say, "Are you coming with us?"
Oh, I thought you were just going to be in the doorway. Are you not? Is Roger not there?
No, no, we
Oh,
don't see him.
yes. Then yes. I scrambled to catch up.
All right, so we've got the four of you Scooby-Doo style working your way back down this hallway. You get to the master bedroom. The door is still open.
All right.
One at a
kinda-
time, right?
Yeah. Kind of peek
Yeah,
my head
just
and
follow-
look
yeah.
around.
And Charles, this might be the first time I think you've seen this room, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
I didn't go in. Mhm.
So you see what I described before, which is obviously a tremendous amount of water damage that on the floor, and you're looking up at the ceiling, you can see the mold and the water stains of where this is, where the obviously recently a lot of water has been dripping down from the ceiling. The ceiling is still intact, but it's kind of bowed, right? And it's almost mimicked on the floor. You can tell the center of the floor not nearly as secure as maybe where the floor is along the walls. And you see the bed all busted up and broken, no mattress and anything. You see the dresser off to the left of it, where the drawers have been all pulled out and broken to pieces, but you have the two candles that are on there. And DZ, you still have a candle, right? Doesn't Paul still have a candle? Yeah. And then you see the closet door, and the closet door was left open, and you can see that there is a body in there. And the reason you know it's a body is because they told you, but you're going to need to get closer to be able to really get a better sense of what you're looking at.
And Shirley will tell him, just don't go to the middle of the floor. Stay around the edges.
Okay. And so I walk really carefully and really slowly with my stick out in front of me.
And
I approach the closet.
so you get there, and without going in the closet, what you see is this body. And it's a man maybe in his early 30s at some point, though you can tell his face has seen some tough years. So maybe he hasn't seen 50 years, but he's lived 50 years, if you know what I mean. Not fully shaven. There's blood on his face, dried. He's in kind of what looks like army surplus clothes, kind of a heavy green jacket. He's got blue jeans on. He's got combat boots that are loosely tied, maybe even two different sized combat boots. And the thing that probably is most noticeable, one is his eyes and lips have been obviously chewed away, right? So you can see where some sort of animal, rodent, or something has eaten his lips. His eyeballs are gone. Uh, but what's probably the biggest thing you notice is his left hand is missing. So his left hand is gone. And I want actually two roles from you, if I could, Charles. First off, I want maybe a science class role.
Okay. All right. Science class. I didn't pay
That's
attention
not
to
me.
science class. All right, just a second here.
Okay, 20 against your science class 10. You need to
Oh.
be paying more attention.
That's
Now,
rough. That's a good
one,
roll too.
and I'm bringing this up just so that we remember it, but by no means am I suggesting you should do it, Kevin. But in 7th edition Call of Cthulhu, you've got a luck score, right? And that luck score is something you're rolled against. And some people are more lucky than other people. Some characters are more lucky than others. But there's a special rule in 7th edition that allows you to burn luck. So you can
Okay.
permanently spend luck to add to a roll. So, for example, you rolled a 20 versus your 10. In theory, you could spend 10 luck points and make
Okay.
this a success, but that will permanently lower your luck score. That's a lot of points. So I'm
That
not
is a lot.
suggesting that's a good idea, but I just want to remind everybody of that mechanic.
Is there a
So-
way to get luck back?
Over long periods of time, yes. Probably for our purposes, it's going to be one and done here. Now, the other role I need you to make, Charles, is a spooky stuff. Because when you
All
look
right.
at that hand, something itches in the back of your brain. And I want to get a sense of how much you remember about what might be significant about the missing left hand.
Okay. I did pay attention to spooky stuff.
Well, you've read a lot of spooky
Spooky stuff
stories.
class.
Oh yeah.
But
Are you serious?
Now here,
Some-
it's only 6
Yeah.
points, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
if
I
you
think
wanna
I'll
spend
spend
that.
some luck. Yeah.
Great. So you rolled an 86 to your 80. If you go ahead and lower your luck score by 6,
Okay.
that'll turn this 86 into an 80, which would be a success.
And thank you for getting rid of our bad rolls right off the bat.
Yeah.
I saw
The
that.
first one wasn't bad. I'm just not very.
You're
Yeah.
looking at the hand, and maybe it's the house, maybe it's skin peeling off of Roger's face. I don't know. Just a feeling you have. You have a mindset right now, and you remember a very old story that you read, and the story was called "The Hand of Glory."
Mhm.
And in that story, the center of the story was this old like witch's spell that allowed you to cut the left hand of a criminal off their dead body. And the spell could use that hand to then control a house. And I think just all things considered, that just like, wait a second, that clicks in your
Mhm.
mind.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
So I,
specific.
So I turn around and I start talking about the story I read, about the left hand and how you could use it to control the house. And, Roger's face is peeling off. I don't think it's puberty. Maybe it has something to do with the story. And I'm looking at Shirley because I'm looking up to her because she knows everything about everything right now. And she has the book.
Yeah. And Shirley's kind of like looking at you and then looking kind of down at the book, like she wants to open it and she wants to look through it, and she sighs and she kind of looks back to everybody else and she goes, "Listen, I don't I, I I don't watch scary movies. I don't know any of these stories. I know some like campfire stories or whatever, but like this is your stuff, Charles. Like if you know something, you, you know, like." And for a second she looks really shaken and she goes, there's nothing in my book to tell me about this. There's nothing that how to handle this situation.
Who has the highest science class roll?
I got a 10.
And
Nobody
got a
paid attention. Okay.
Just weird. You'd think Shirley would have a higher science class, but no.
I thought I might too, as like a tinkerer, but I guess I'm too busy. Charles, if we live through this, I'd like to borrow some of your books.
That would be fun. We could read
If-
together some night.
No, we're definitely going to live through this.
Okay, so the goal now is to get out of this house. We let's forget about this key. Let's
There's no key.
Oh, don't
And
say that.
The window
There's
in
gotta
there
be-
is an opening, and I'm not sure why, because it's not blocked. So go downstairs and try more windows and doors.
Well, there's two
This house
windows
is
here in the
falling
master
apart.
bedroom.
yeah, let's try one of these
I-
windows. And
I don't love this room.
me either.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
we should.
also, there's no point in trying and opening a second story window. We should definitely
Yeah.
go to the first floor.
Let's go downstairs and try those.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So of the four of you, I know Charles is closest to the closet.
Mhm.
Who's closest to the door back to the hallway?
Probably
Me.
Julie.
Okay. So Julia,
I don't think
Everybody's-
I was coming in the room.
you were in behind Paul. You were last.
I think I was not wanting to enter this room again.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was sticking possibly in the hallway, poking my head in. Or
Yeah, and I was in a doorway protecting it.
So, Paul, luckily everybody's decided to get the heck out of this room, right? So you might be the first one that says, look, I barely even came back into this room. So you're back in the upper hallway. And again, no sign of Roger. And if I remember correctly, you've made a point as a character to really keep your eyeballs peeled for when he's around and when he's not around, right?
trying, yeah.
So everybody's going to hear this, but you're going to hear it the loudest. And I think it's probably going to startle you more than anybody. You hear very, very loud banging and knocking coming from downstairs. And because of where you are, it's happening like almost seemingly below your feet, which is where the front door was. And it's boom, 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 boom. And you hear muffled voice, but you can't make out what is being said. And you're boom, 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 boom. And it's relentless.
Angry.
Oh, yeah. And
Maybe
aggressive.
it's the maybe it's the cops.
I'm reconsidering going downstairs.
But didn't Roger throw the key out the door?
Yeah,
So
you can
whoever's
throw it
banging
out
on the
spot.
door should be able to get in, right?
Yeah, actually.
Do we want them to come in?
I don't think so,
Well,
but if
if
they
they-
open the door, we can get out.
That's true.
I just want to go home.
I'm
Me
I'm just
too.
gonna follow you.
Got our
all right.
sticks.
Yeah, let's go down the stairs, but let's remember, stay to the side because they're scary stairs. Be careful. Keep an eye out for Roger. He's gonna try to do something when we're not expecting it.
And he has a knife. And
he
I
has a
just wanna
knife.
go home.
Okay, so I'll go first.
All right, so Shirley, you kind of skitter around and get in front of Paul.
Mhm.
And the four of you, single file, work your way back through the upper hallway, across and not touching that shaky railing, and you get to the top of the steps, looking down the steps. And the last time you guys looked down there, I think it was Paul that you did, that's when you saw Roger on his knees spending time with a cat, which you had not seen before. But looking down the stairs now, you see nothing on the stairs except a few of the missing rotted steps and the plants. You can see some of the plants that are there in that main foyer when you walked in. You see the bottom of that grandfather clock that had been gutted. All the gears and stuff had been taken out of it. It was just the shell. And you can see the very bottom of the front door. So Shirley, you start to carefully, staying closer, if I remember, staying closer to the wall than the railing, working your way down the steps, being very conscious of the condition of these steps and, of course, of any missing steps. And as you work about a third of the way down, which would leave at least one of you still at the top of the staircase, the door flies open. And in walks an older person. You can't see who it is quite yet. You can only really see like the blue jeans and the sneakers, but you can tell just by the way that this person is dressed that they're not an adult. And you hear the door slam behind, and you hear a voice that says, "Roger, get your ass home.
Shirley
Where are
freezes.
you, Roger?"
Yeah, Shirley freezes right where she is, just like, I'm small, I'm tiny, I'm small, I'm tiny, I'm small, I'm tiny.
So this person walks to the base of the steps, and you recognize him immediately. Surely it's freaking Ace,
Right.
Roger's older brother. And you now, like, it's real obvious who Roger wants to be, right? Because you can see, Ace has grown out his mustache, and that's probably why Roger has been trying to do it for the last 2 years, even though he's in 6th grade. And he has got a like a red leather jacket on, but he's torn the sleeves off, and he's got a sleeveless shirt on under it. He's got the shirt itself is an Ozzy Osbourne, demon faced, t-shirt, black t-shirt. And he looks up at you, Shirley, and he goes, "Have you seen Roger? What have you done with him?"
He
Get us
locked
out
us
of here and we'll
in.
tell you.
He's following us around with a knife.
Is he in here? He hasn't been
Somewhere.
home for a week. Is he in here?
He hasn't been home
Wait,
for
what was that?
Oh, what?
Where is my little brother? I'm going to kick his ass.
He
Please do.
But he ran away. He ran away. He locked us in here and ran away.
And his face
Yeah.
is falling off.
Mom is scared to death. Dad doesn't give a shit, but Mom is scared to death.
What makes you think he's here? Why did you come here?
He used to come here all the time. This is his stupid little hideout, and he thought that let everybody be too scared to find him here. But he's like, him being gone 2 days, no big deal. But Mom is freaking out. It's been over a week.
Well, the last time we saw him, he was upstairs, and then we were in another room, and now he's gone. So
That's it. I'm coming upstairs. Get out of my way.
And he had a knife. He had a knife.
Whatever.
Okay.
Good
Help!
luck with that. Goodbye.
And his face was falling off.
You
Not our
see
problem.
Ace get up on that first step, and then you see him turn to the left, and you can't see what he's looking at. He goes, "There you are, you little shit." And you see him step away out of your view if you're staying up towards the top of the steps.
Is he on the upper floor or the lower floor?
No, he kind of stepped back down off the steps and has kind of gone off to your right, his left. He saw something. He said, "There you are, you little shit," and then went out of your sight.
Is the front door
Shirley will look
closed?
back at everyone else
Go.
and like give you that look of like, and then bolt for the door. Run down the stairs as fast as she can and bolt for the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you all four of you book down there, staying as safe as possible on the steps. It looks like you
Mhm.
want to say something, Paul.
I mean, I do have to look when we pass when we went.
So if you remember, he slammed the door closed, right? So you see the closed door. And if you remember, to your left now is the grandfather clock. And then there's one of those large, like room size sliding doors. Like it was very, very traditional Victorian homes to have these sliding doors that would open up to a parlor or a dining room. That's closed off to your left. To the right was this parlor sitting room that you guys saw. You didn't go in, but you could see it from where you are. You get to this entry hall. You've got that grandfather clock. You've got these weird plants that are doing much better than they should, considering that they're getting no sunlight. And supposedly nobody had been in here, for over a decade, though it looks like Roger may have been. You look and you can see Ace standing there, and he's looking down, and you see Roger. And Ace is at least a head taller than Roger. And Roger's like half a head taller than all of you kids. And you see Roger looking up at him, expressionless. And you see Ace looking down at him. He goes, "You little shit. I am sick and fucking tired of your bullshit. Sick and tired of it." And that's the first stab that happens as Roger stabs Ace in the gut. And you see Ace's reaction. He's like, "What the?" Like he doesn't even believe it's happening. And you see Roger do it again and again and again and again. And he just is like feverishly just stabbing his brother over and over and over again. And his brother's like, it falls back and it's just, there's blood all over the torn up t-shirt, this Ozzy Osbourne t-shirt. And there's blood just soaking the top of the jeans as it comes out. And each time that Roger pulls out the knife, that just the blood splatters out of it. And he's not slowing down. All he's doing is speeding up. And you can see the blood splattering all over Roger. Guess what I need?
Run fast checks.
I need
Get out of town.
sand rolls. Who wants to go first? Because this might be the first murder any of you kids have seen.
Maybe.
I'll do it. I'll go.
All right. Let's see how Shirley does.
Ooh, it was so close. Did you see it get that 9 and then roll?
Give me a 1d4.
Da-da-da.
You read the handbook page for witnessing a murder.
Yeah, right. Oh, it rolled 2. What the heck?
All right. Let me expand it and see what the first one was. Just 1 second. All right. The first die was a 2. So drop 2 sand for me.
Okay.
Where does that put you on your daily?
I am now at 50. Oh no, I'm 60.
Okay, but on your daily, what was your daily
Oh,
total?
daily. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm 5 out of 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
like,
Who's next? We'll talk about reactions in a second. Let's get the mechanics done. Who's this?
I hit the button.
This is Paul with the 89 for your
Oh.
59 sand. Let's go ahead and do a 1d6 for that failure.
I saved you from the 89, Shadika, by stepping over
appreciate
you.
Oh.
Let's drop 6 sand. Where does that put you, Paul?
Yes. It puts me at 7 of 12 for daily.
Okay, so you've got
Out
5
of
more.
madness.
Okay, and who's next, Charles or Julia?
I'll go.
All right. That's a success. Give me a 1d4. Okay, let's drop 2. Where does that put Charles?
I've got 3 of 15.
Okay, you got 3 left.
No, I've got 12 left.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. All right, Julia.
All right, let's see how this goes. quick second.
Just click sand. It should be up towards the top. There you go. 58 is a success against your 64% sand. Let's go ahead and roll a 1d4.
Okay.
Let's drop 2. All right, so I want to start with my 3 successes. We'll start with Shirley. Shirley, obviously, this is jarring, regardless of any sand rolls, right? You're watching a murder, but it doesn't impact you as bad as it potentially could. And I want to get a sense of why. You are watching somebody being brutally stabbed to death.
So Shirley has kind of taken sort of a feeling of responsibility for the 4 kids. And in her mind, getting them out of this situation as fast as possible is more important than losing her crap. And if she loses her crap, everybody else is going to lose theirs. So she is trying her best to hold herself together. Inside, she is screaming, but her goal is get to the door, open the damn door.
How about for Kevin? Or sorry, for Charles.
Charles, first of all, he likes to read lots of terrifying books and things. But at one point, Charles was in an accident, and he saw a lot of blood, and he saw people who he loved who had died.
Gotcha.
So for Charles, although he might be a little scared, he's seen something like this before.
And how about Julia? How does Julia kind of keep her wits about her?
So for Julia, tonight has been a lot for her. She saw her grandmother. She saw some kids' puberty. Maybe his face is just peeling off. She's confused about that part.
He could be ashy.
Yes. But it's not a good feeling that he's stabbing his brother. It's more so like that could have been me.
Right.
Because I faced him as well.
Mm.
And we got to get out of here.
I think that's a great point, Julie, because it's one thing for a kid to have a knife and say, I'm going to get you with this knife. It's another thing to see the kid killing somebody with a knife. That changes the threat level of Roger a little bit, doesn't it? So, yeah. Whew, not me. I dodged that bullet. But unfortunately, Paul did not react nearly as well. So what is Paul's reaction?
Oh, we've got the group has a clear route of escape at the moment, right? So I gotta freeze. I gotta just stop and watch and then gape at what I'm seeing.
All of this is happening just inside this parlor room that you guys saw when you came in, but you haven't gone inside yet. And running down the steps is Shirley. Shirley, you get to the door and all you're thinking about is, please turn the knob, please turn the knob, please turn the knob, right? You get to the door, you turn that knob and it is not locked.
I imagine there's almost like this, like once again Scooby-Doo, where like the 3 of us just like collide into each other as the door doesn't open, and Shirley is just rattling. It needs to come. Why?
So you turn the knob and you pull, and it's like, oh my God, like you can feel the door start to open, and it goes about 1/10 of an inch. It gives, you can hear the latch go, and it goes about 1/10 of it, and then it stops and pulls you back and closes itself. And every time you immediately start pulling again, right? Frantically, just turn the knob, pull, turn the knob, pull. And every time it gives a little and then pulls itself back closed.
And she'll like put her back to the door and look directly at Charles, and she'll say, "It's not going to let us out.
It's the monkey paw. It's the monkey paw. Is there a window nearby?
So there's 2 windows in the parlor where the murder is happening right now. At this point, Ace is on the ground. Roger is straddling his body and just two-handed with this knife, continuing to stab his brother.
We've got to get out of here.
Yeah. I got nothing.
Where's Paul? And we'll all kind of turn back and like look at Paul just standing there. Paul.
does he look in a state of utter and complete shock?
I don't know. Does
Yeah,
it, Paul?
Or fear?
he's more or less catatonically watching the stabbing.
I so my back is toward the stabbing, which is more of a coping mechanism, and I want to use a skill be a pal to kind of like take his face and kind of turn him around,
So
so where
yeah,
he's
let's go.
not.
Yeah, tell me what you're going to say, Julia, and then I'll decide whether we need a roll or not.
Okay, Paul, I need you to listen to me. I need you to look at me, and we're just gonna turn around, and we're not going to pay attention to this because we got to focus on getting out. And you're smartest, one of the smartest ones here, and we need your help because the door is not opening. Please, Paul.
So you like turn his head, but like his eyes are still watching it
Yeah.
until you start working on his ego.
Yeah.
And then my eyes will turn. And I think the only thing I can get out is like, I like your costume.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
and Julie, we don't need a
I'm
roll
snapped out of it.
for a couple reasons. One, I loved your angle. Two, I love that Paul recognized what worked and what didn't work. But more importantly, Paul has not gone past his daily stand. So even though his reaction is a catatonic one, it's not a mechanical one. So yeah, Paul,
Yeah.
you're like, okay.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So
Come on.
real quick reorientation, right? You guys are in the main entry hall. You've got this parlor where there's something going on there, but Julia's making sure she's not looking at it. You've got the closed large door that's across the hallway from this parlor. Then, if you remember, there was a hallway continuing past the staircase that went all the way to the back of the house. You could see the back door to the house, and then there was another door on the left side and another door on the right side.
We can try.
And you can go back upstairs.
Let's put a door between us and Roger.
Upstairs then.
No, let's not go upstairs
like
again. You can trap us in.
parlor?
Okay.
You see Roger starting to slow down.
We'll Shirley will run over to the accordion doors and try to pull them open.
Yeah.
And you have no trouble. So you kind of pull these wooden doors. You grab the handle, which is again almost like face level for you, right, Shirley? And you pull these open, and it opens up into what I'm sure was at some point a dining room, and you can tell because there's this huge, heavy oval, like oak table, like old, heavy oak table in the center, and you can see chairs that have not been broken to pieces, chairs around this table itself. Across there, you can see a china cabinet. Looks like one of the doors is missing. It's not clear what's in the china cabinet, but you also notice looking up, you can see water damage. And that's when I think you start to piece together, oh, wait a minute, this is right below the bedroom, right? So that now I'm looking at the floor of that bedroom where we found the body. And then as far as windows, because I think you're interested in those, there is a large window to the right, which would go and kind of, doesn't take much to figure this out. That would open up to the front of the house where the front porch was. There are two other windows that would lead off to what would be the left side of the house. All of these are closed with these same dark, heavy shutters. You can see on the inside, you can see scraps of green paint, but most of that's been worn away. And then in the back, so to your left on this room, you can see two double doors. So two doors that are closed, but you can tell that they swing. And maybe in an old Victorian home like this, that could be, an entrance to a servant's entrance or a kitchen or something along those lines. So that as you peel this open, that's everything you take in. China cabinet's real tall. Everything is old, worn, but nothing is broken to pieces, not like you saw upstairs.
Yeah, I think Shirley will just immediately head for the double doors. Like she wants to put as much space between them and Roger as she can. So she's going to bolt for the swinging double doors.
Okay, so you run into the room, head to the left towards those double doors. How about my three other kids?
Once everyone's in the room, I'm going to be trying to close these doors and secure the handles together rope or with like a bent piece of wood or something.
So you close these doors. There are handles there. So let's do a what is it? Fixed stuff? Give me a fixed stuff.
Yeah. I can sort of fix stuff.
Missed by 7.
Yeah. Let's save it.
Okay. So you're looking around. Let's say you find maybe some wires, and you start to do the wires, but the wires are brittle. So as soon as you kind of get it secure, the wires are starting to break, and you know that, yeah, I've kind of tied this together, but like any of us kids could just easily, open these doors. We see
Okay.
Shirley headed directly off to the right. I don't want Shirley to do this because her reaction is I'm going for the doors, but I do want Paul, Charles, and Julia to give me a spot hidden. What is it? Kid Cthulhu. It's notice stuff.
Notice.
Yeah, give me a notice stuff. All right. So Charles and
Wow, you
Julia.
really snapped me out of it.
Charles and Julia are like, ooh, doors. That's a great idea. Right. So you guys go right after Maeve and head out. Hey, Nick, I saw the gift. Thank you so much for all of those. But Paul, after you're done with the wires, you kind of stop and you're like looking at it and go, yeah, this is not going to hold. And you turn to go there. And as you turn, you see a few things. One, you notice the china cabinet with the door that's been broken off, and the other glass on the other door has been broken away. And some of the shelves in the china cabinet have been broken, but some are still intact. And on the shelves that are still intact, you see some porcelain and glass figurines. Most of them are of cats. There's a few of them of children. And you kind of look down to where the door had been ripped off of this china cabinet, and you see broken and shattered statuettes that are on the floor as well. And as kind of as that might be, what really stands out to you is the stuffed gray cat that's on top of the
Oh.
china cabinet.
Oh, I don't like that. Okay. Surely that's a different cat than the one that Roger was talking to, so not gonna dwell on that too much. The children, porcelain children, are they like? Is there anything notable about them?
No, they're like, the stuff that like nowadays you would see in a
Okay.
Hallmark store.
I was fully ready for them to be little copies of us.
No, none of them are wearing tiaras or Indiana Jones
Okay.
costumes or Girl Scout outfits.
Okay. I guess while they're checking the doors, I will take a closer look at the cat, just to confirm that it's definitely not the same cat.
You walk over, and this is now going in the opposite direction of the other kids. You kind of walk over towards this china cabinet, and as you're walking, I'm not sure how careful you are, but you're probably stepping on some of the pieces of some of the figurines that have been broken off. And you look up at this thing, and like you can see the glass eyes, the way the light off your candle is reflecting on its eyes, and you can see the fur, and like it's either the taxidermist was not very good at this, or this thing has been here for a very, very long time. It's got this matted, nasty fur. And the whole time, please don't be the cat. Please don't be the cat. Please don't be the cat. And you get about halfway there, and you're like, that is the exact same cat that Roger was talking to. I need a sand roll.
I suppose you do.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Well,
So
that's better than murder.
you're not going to roll. You lost no sand, but I've got to know why.
I mean, after the stabbing, I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Walking taxidermy cats, sure.
I'm gonna process that later.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll catch up to me.
It'll be really great, I think, if your parents have all got like family therapist picked out. I think if we make
Yeah.
it out of here, all right.
Let's
Let's
save the money until we get out.
all right. Let's cut to the double doors. Shirley, you get to the double doors first. You've got two of your friends right behind you. Paul is, looking at this cap, but I would imagine Paul, soon after figuring out what the heck's going on there, is headed towards your direction. So you get to these double swinging doors.
And she's just kicking them open. She's
Okay.
just trying to get she's literally trying to get as much space between them and Roger as she can.
So you kick them open and you get to kind of a small room. It's almost like a hallway, so it's not very deep, right? And there's another set of double doors, just like the ones you kicked open on the other side. But you can tell that it's deep enough that if both doors opened at the same time, they wouldn't hit each other, right?
Right.
So you're looking to the left and the right, you can see kind of broken tables that where maybe there would be some settings put, and no roll needed for it. Like, this is a staging room for butlers and maids and things like that. They're
Right.
maybe serving people in this dining room. So now you've got that next set of doors right in front of you.
Yeah, she's just not even hesitating.
So you bolt through the first set of doors, take it in, bolt through the next set of doors. I want to know, before I describe what Shirley sees, I want to know if everybody's following her.
Yeah, as soon as doors start getting kicked in, I'm going right along with her.
Same
All
here.
right.
I'm kind of watching behind us, but yeah.
Okay. Shirley, the one thing, as you go through that first set of doors, Paul, and they close behind you, the wet sound of Roger stabbing his brother stops. So you come in to the kitchen, Shirley, and the kitchen is in worse shape than that dining room. So there's all kinds of cupboards all lining on here. There's several different ovens. Some of them, there's like 2 ovens. One of the doors have been pulled off of one of them. You can see like an 8 burner range, gas range. So this is not a cook for just family dinner, right? This is a serving kitchen. This is meant for catering and taking care of guests. And there's pots and pans on the floor. There's some are still hanging under these cupboards. Some of these cupboards have their doors torn off. Some of them don't. Like I mentioned, one of the ovens has been broken. One isn't. There's a closed ice box, not a fridge, an ice box off to the left. And then you also can see from there a window to your right, closed with shutters, a window across from where you are, closed with shutters. To the far left is a door, which, again, orientating yourself, you can tell that's the door that leads back to the hallway, probably right next to that back door.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another door directly to your left that is farther up that would not lead to the hallway.
Okay. I think Shirley kind of skids to a stop here, and she looks around, and she goes, "What if, Charles? You've seen movies. What if we could trap him somewhere? What if we could like catch him in a closet and lock the door behind him, and then we could find the key while he was trapped? What do you think? Would it work? Could we
I think
do
that'd
it?"
be a great idea. Let's try.
And then she starts kind of looking around to like figure out how we can, trick him into coming. She runs over and opens the ice box up. It's probably a mistake. That's probably awful.
Yeah, you open the ice box, and mistake's a good word. You open the ice box, and it is filled with rot.
Ugh.
And the smell of rot just fills your nose and your face. And, you can see what might have been glass bowls and containers at some point. Maybe they had food in here, but there's just mold covering all of the different few things that are on the shelves, and mold all on the inside of this ice box. And it comes up to about your height, right? So it would come up to an adult's chest, and the door is all moldy. And hey, McBluff, thanks for those the subs. You see the mold on the inside of the door, and it's just like, oh God, just unbelievable. And it fills the room. All of you smell this, but only Maeve sees the rats. A lot of them. We're going to go to break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. All right, so I need to know everybody's dexterity. So first one I need to know is Shirley's dex.
Okay. I was gonna have Shirley make a sand roll because nope, because Shirley is probably terrified with that many rats in front of her.
Okay. I don't know if Shirley's going to have time for a sand roll.
Oh, that's fair.
So what is Shirley's
Explosion.
dex?
Dodge roll.
No, dex. DX.
Okay.
Up towards the top.
Yeah.
So,
65.
65. Charles?
65.
Okay. Paul?
70.
Ooh. Julia.
What? 45.
Okay. So Paul and the rats are on the same decks. So they're going to act simultaneous. And then we've got Charles and Shirley will act next, tied. You guys can determine what order you want to do it in. And then Julia, should have spent more time in gym class. Your dexterity is the lowest, so you'll be acting last. But I am going to give the rats a surprise. I think that's fair. So the rats, it's more than 5 is the only thing your brains takes in, right? There is just a ton of rats, and they pour onto you, Shirley. So they are going to attack you. They roll a 91. So now I need a dodge roll from you, Shirley.
What a 48.
With a 48. So you both fail, but you fail lower. So these rats are not going to do any damage to you, but you all see Shirley step back as she becomes covered in these huge gopher-sized rats just are jumping on her. Paul, you act next.
Well, I've seen Indiana Jones, so I am going to. Is there like a I don't know how fast this would be. I'm trying to like think if I could make a torch out of some like debris in here really quick, or if there's just like some cloth that I could maybe light up.
Let's have on that window off to the right. Let's have a curtain that's kind of like barely hanging on to the rod.
Yeah, I'll rip that curtain off, and try to light a corner of it with my crappy Bic lighter, since Roger took my nice
So
one.
one of my favorite skills in Kid Cthulhu is play with fire or play with matches. So let's do a play with matches roll. So man of action, Paul, may be frozen by a stabbing murder between fraternicide that he saw out in the parlor, runs over, grabs and tears off the curtain. And you see him pull his lighter out and he starts lighting the curtain on fire. And I'm imagining like the cloth hanging down, right? And you light the bottom of it. So that'll be your action this turn, is getting that to happen. You start the fire.
And once I have it there, I'm like, oh crap, what do I do now?
I've only ever done this part. All right. Shirley and Charles get to act at the same time. You die between the two of you, decide who goes.
I think this is the point where Shirley kind of goes a little like catatonic. She loves every animal. She's all about animals. Rats terrify her. This many rats absolutely terrify her. She is not moving. She is just standing stock still, not even screaming, eyes huge, just like frozen. So
Charles will go. So are the rats, what are they? Are they coming out?
They're pouring out of the ice box, seem to be focused on Shirley.
Okay.
And you taking in more information, Charles, than Shirley really had an opportunity to. There might be 15 of these things.
Okay. I think he's going to start swinging his chair leg, trying to hit the rats.
But hit the rats on
Shirley.
Shirley.
Yeah, I'm going to try to use a golf swing,
Okay.
oh god.
because Charles is not the most coordinated person on the
All right.
face
I
of the earth.
think we need to give Charles a
That's what
club.
you
So
wanna
give me
hear.
just 1 second here. Let's open up Charles and let's go ahead and all right, we got Charles open. Let's go
When I
ahead.
see him like getting his club ready, can I like just say, take this, take the take the claw. You've seen Indiana Jones, I assume.
Yep.
All right. So Charles, you have a small club now. If you go to your combat tab, you should see small
Okay.
club.
All right, just a second. Okay. I still see unarmed.
Okay, let me make sure that I got this right. So under melee weapons, you should see unarmed, and right above it, you see small club. No?
No.
All right. Do me a favor. Just go ahead and close out your sheet.
Mhm.
Is it popped out?
No.
Okay. Close it out. Reopen it one more time.
Okay. Should be under melee weapons, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just seeing unarmed.
All right. I'm going to roll it for you if that's okay.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it looks like just a little delay in you seeing it there. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a roll. All right. Do you see it in the chat?
Just a second here. No.
All right.
All right, just a second here.
I'll
see it.
roll
All
it.
right,
no
there we
way.
go. Yeah.
Okay, hard success for you. Before you roll damage, let me quickly do a dodge for the rats. Oh, they rolled an extreme success. They beat your hard success. And unfortunately, I'm going to need a dodge roll from Shirley.
Sorry.
Okay, you've got a regular success versus his hard success. His hard success is going to beat your regular success. And tell me, Kevin, can you hit roll damage? That little button for roll damage? If not, I'll hit it for you. Should say it right
Yeah,
under
I
your hard
see it here.
success. Okay, go ahead and hit it for me. Let me know if it lets you.
It's not doing anything. I'll let you roll it.
All right, great. So I need Shirley to take 4 damage.
Sorry.
What does that do to you?
I'm down to 5, so it's about half.
Okay. All right. So, Kevin, you golf swing, trying to hit the rats. Maybe you've hit some, maybe you haven't, but I'm going to have you hit Shirley in the upper thigh. So you just swing and boom, Shirley, you get hit in the upper thigh. What's the reaction?
I think
It
it
hurt a
snaps her
lot.
out of it. Yeah, I think it snaps her out of it. She's just like, oh, and just starts rolling. Like she just drops to the ground and just starts rolling.
I think that's fire, but probably.
Yeah, she doesn't care. There's rats. Shut up.
Julia,
No.
everything is happening all at once. You see the
Yeah.
rats pour out on top of Shirley and they're swarming Shirley. You see Paul run over, grab the curtain, light it on fire. You see Charles hit Shirley in the thigh with his table leg.
Julia doesn't know what to do. There's a lot happening at once, as you pointed out. We don't. She doesn't know why the curtain's being set on fire. Why? Julia got smacked with the club. Is there an island in this kitchen? Like,
Yeah, there's a central island. Yep.
yeah, she's gonna hop up on top of that.
So Shirley hops up onto the center island, knocking some pans off of it, and they go clang, clang, and they kind of fall to the ground.
Wait a second. Is there a pan that she can pick up, like a
There
frying
sure is.
pan?
You want to grab one?
Yes.
All right.
And
So I'm going to open up Julia real quick. Julia, I'm going to give you the equivalent of a club as well. So give me just a moment.
All right.
All right. Tell me when you go to combat if you can now see that club.
I can see it.
Okay, great. So you jump up. This will be your action. You jump up. You grab like this cast iron frying pan. It's a little heavy, but you pick it up and you got it, and you're standing up on top of this center island. We're gonna go back to the top of the order. We have a tie in dex between Shirley and the rats, so we're gonna do a dex roll to see who gets to act first.
Me and the
Here's
rats, right?
here's the
Paul.
rats.
Is it?
Oh no, you
Paul?
and the rats. That's right, Paul. I'm sorry. All right, the rats are going to get to go first with a hard success versus your. No, you both got a hard success. They rolled lower at a 22, so they are going to continue to try to claw and bite at Shirley. Boy, oh boy, 25 with a regular success. Shirley, I need a dodge roll.
Oh. Oh.
All right, these things
Can I
finally
spend
have got.
luck on this?
You sure? Well, here's the problem: is that you've got to beat that 25.
Oh, it's a 25. Yeah. I
Yeah, so you'd have to
spend
get
a
that
lot.
down to a 24. The answer is yes.
I'm just worried that they might actually do me. I need to spend a lot of
Understood.
luck, huh?
You'd have to get down to 25. So that means you're going to need 9 to get down to 20. So 5, 14. You'd have to spend 14 luck.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
That'll put me down to 51.
Luck's rarely used in this game. So I think that was that.
Okay.
So yeah, chill.
So here's what I need to know, Maeve, for Shirley, is these things are going to bite and scratch you, but somehow you avoid damage by nothing, no skill, nothing that you do, by sheer luck. How do you avoid getting hurt by these rats?
So I think what happens is that as she's rolling on the floor, she rolls into a counter, maybe even the island that Julia's on, and just knocks all of the stuff on top of her and on top of the rats. Like there's just this like clatter, this absolute just like cacophony of noise as just like pots, pans, spoons, everything just comes crashing down on top of her.
So the pots and the pans kind of knock over, but they kind of go over you, right? Because you ram up against this and they kind of fall in front of you. None of the pots and pans hit you, luckily. But crazily, the silverware that was up there as well gets knocked down. And we just see the silverware, like we see, forks hitting a rat and it's scoring off. So the silverware just rains down, doesn't hurt you. It's
Right.
butter knives, spoons, and forks. But for these rats that are smaller than Shirley, it stops them and gets their attention and hits them as well. All right, so that takes care of the rats. Now Paul gets to go.
So they're not scurrying off, right?
They're still focused on Shirley, but they have
Okay.
scattered now. So now the floor is starting to become covered in rats.
Okay. I'm gonna go over to Charles and say, "Give me that," with the club.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna wrap the curtain around it and then kind of like be like shooing at the rats, like not getting close enough to Shirley to burn her or the rats that are on her, but like just trying to wave it to scare them off.
All right, give me just 1 second, Paul. We're going to give you a club. In fact, we're going to give you Charles's club. So give me just a moment.
Got me a club.
All right.
Flaming +1.
Yes, it'll be +1 damage if we roll damage. So go ahead and roll me your club attack. All right. So it's going to be based off of your fighting 25%. Go ahead and click that fighting. You should be.
Okay.
All right. So they're going to roll their dodge. They also fail. So you're not going to hit them. You're not going to do damage. But
I wasn't trying to hit him.
Okay, but it's working, right? You're starting to see the rats kind of clearing away, maybe even going away from Shirley as you're doing it. So you haven't hurt them, but you're getting your goal of getting them off of Shirley is working. All right, so who's next? I think it's a tie between Shirley and Charles.
I think Charles is still. I think Shirley's still recovering.
Okay. Charles.
So the icebox door's still open, right?
It is.
I think Charles is going to try to close it. If he can.
You slam the door
That's
shut
a
and
good
and
idea.
stopping some of those rats from coming out. So you slam the icebox shut and it clicks clicks. So it's got one of those heavy like metal doors, right? And it just it clanks shut. I can still give you another action if you want it.
Would I be able to jump up on the island?
You sure can. So Charles
I don't like
Slanigan
rats.
goes right for where Julia is, and he hops up onto the island to where Julia is as well. All right. That brings us to Julia with frying pan in hand on top of the island.
Okay. Now that she's like away from the evil threat of having a rat on her, because that would have been a whole different story. She's gonna look down at Shirley with the rats and like, okay, animals don't like loud noises. So she's gonna like find like maybe a ladle, like bang it against the pan, like kind of over, like to make noise of like hoping that with the curtain of fire and the noise that they start running.
I love this. In fact, I'm going to make the rats do a sand roll.
Oh, they passed.
So
wow.
you clang, 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 and the rats are like, and they're scurrying away. We're going to have them not able to attack Shirley next round. So between the fire that Paul was doing, between the noise that you're making and the disturbance you're making, Julia, we're going to have a non-attack round from the rats. When we get back up to the top, I need another dex challenge between Paul and the rats.
Okay.
Regular success for the rats and a hard success for Paul. Paul gets to go first.
As long as that's working, I'm gonna keep doing that. Trying to shoo them, like kind of corral them towards one corner of the room if possible. But generally, just focusing on getting them off of Shirley.
All right, let's do it. Let's do a little club attack action.
Oh, I don't love doing the club attack with my 25%.
Oh, please don't hit me.
I didn't know there was a fumble.
There is. There is. To be complete, let's go ahead and roll the dodge for our rats.
Might as well. They get a 98.
Okay.
No,
So you're sweeping, right? And kind of like hitting with a club and stuff like that. And as that happens, we see kind of the ashes float up from the club, and we see the end of the club is burning and the fire is completely out. So in the actions of you sweeping and stuff like that, the fire at the end of this club goes completely out. That'll be your fumble. The rats are going to, what are the rats going to do? The rats are not a fan of you, Paul. So the rats are going to spend their turn swarming you. That brings me to a tie between Shirley and Charles. Who wants to go first?
I think Shirley's still useless. I think I really truly believe Shirley is just like now that the rats are not on top of her, she
Well,
is.
Go ahead.
Yeah, she has her book in her hand, like clutched to her chest, and she is just against this island, bawling.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Charles, you're on top of the island. You've got Julia clanging it. You see the fire's gone out on Paul's club. We've got rats scattered around. You're looking down and see rats starting to come up the side of the island where you two are. You see them now starting to swarm onto Paul.
Okay. I think I'm going to start kicking the rats who are trying to come up. But I'd also like to see if there's an exit. I just want to look around and see if I can find a way out of here.
Yeah, so there's the door that leads to the hallway because of where you're
Mhm.
orientated, right? And then there's another door that was right by the swinging doors that doesn't lead to the hallway. But it leads to, it could be a closet. It's hard to tell. It's pretty deep, so it's about the area that's kind of jutted out that leads to this door is about 6 or 7 feet there. So those are the two doors that you can see. Let's do an unarmed attack real quick on the rats.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then you should be able to click on the fighting score of 30% in the chat.
Ooh.
Very
I
nice.
kicked a rat.
27. Regular success. They are going to attempt to dodge it. They 68. So go ahead and click on the roll damage button in the chat.
Okay.
Why didn't it? Oh, there we go. 1 damage. All right. I will register that damage. Done. All right. That takes care of Charles. We are now down to Julia. Julia, you see Charles kind of reaching, like staying on there, but kicking as these rats are starting to come up the side of the island you're on. You're clang,
my
clang, clang,
gosh.
clang.
Okay. If the clinking isn't working, she's gonna like start hitting the side of the island for whatever rat gets the closest up. Because she will jump ship if one of them scatters up here with her.
Julia stops for a second and goes, wait, I remember the game in the arcade. She starts playing whack-a-mole, right? It's just taking the pan and hitting the side as these rats are starting to come up. So take your small club and then go ahead and click on it, and it should give you.
All right.
All right, fighting 30%. So in the chat now, you should be able to hit that button.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's a 63 failure. So let's go ahead and do our dex roll. All right, a regular success. So the rats are able to dodge it. They're getting up closer as they're coming up on you, Julia. Back to the top. I need a Paul versus the rats roll. This is a little bit more important than the ones we've done before because they're actually coming after you, Paul.
Paul versus the Rats is my favorite indie band.
The rats hard success beats your regular success. They are now going to teeth and claw you. With their 16 hard success. Paul, I need a dodge roll.
Mm.
All right. That's going to be 1 damage as you feel the claws biting at your legs as these things are coming up on you. It is your action.
But I don't know what I want to do. I think I would just be trying to brush them off of me and like kind of scampering around the kitchen, trying to avoid the frying pans that are swinging.
So you still have the club. It's just not on fire anymore. So let's use that club to kind of scrape them off of you, kind of backing away, hitting them on the floor, just panicking at this point.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do a club roll.
Club rolls.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's a 25. I don't have high hopes
Whoa.
for making these.
No.
All right, so they you both fail. You're the attacker, so nothing happens there. We now go to Charles and Shirley, and I'm going to go to Shirley first. I'm going to force this to be a Shirley. At this point, Shirley,
Yeah, she's coming out. She's coming out, and she's looking around, and she sees Paul, and she sees the rats coming up the counter, and she just has that moment of like, okay, what do I do? And
there's a pan right there.
Yeah, she's gonna grab a pan.
Please don't.
And she's just gonna
I do say that out loud. The second her eyes hit that pan, I'm like, please don't.
Yeah, and that's what she's going for. She is gonna try to knock pans off of. Actually,
you can hit the ones on the floor. You don't have to hit Paul.
Well, I think what
Okay.
she wants to do is hit the ones that are coming towards him, hoping to like scare some of the rest of them off.
All right, so you should
Julia.
now see a small club in your melee weapons. Then go ahead and hit your 30% fighting. It's a little button in chat.
Woo! Look at that.
Ooh, hard success. Let's see the dodge.
Oh,
A regular success. You succeed. Your hard beats their regular success. Go ahead and click that roll damage for me.
oh, just the one.
So you squash a rat. You take the pan and you just and you just and we just see the guts and the blood just under the pan just expand out. And I will go ahead and have the rat swarm take a damage. Charles.
All right. Is there a pan on the island?
I need a luck roll.
We all need a luck roll.
Yeah, we do.
So no pan.
No pan.
Oh, spend some luck.
Oh yeah, you only
Spend
missed by
one-
Oh,
one.
I won. Yeah, I'll spend luck.
All right,
Can you
spend
do
one
that
luck.
to approve a luck roll? Huh.
I don't think you can, but I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna let it happen. All right, so I'm actually gonna do one better, Charles. I am gonna have you find a knife.
Oh,
Now it's a.
okay.
Let's see here. Your. Just 1 second. It's gonna. Whoops. 30. All right. Let me know, Charles, if you can see the knife.
I can.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and take that knife and let's attack some of these rats coming up.
Okay. Let's see. Do I roll the damage here, or how do I do that?
I don't know. It didn't. Why didn't it
didn't
roll,
roll.
for you? Okay, hold on
Critical.
1 second. Fighting. Okay, regular success. Go right up to the roll damage, the 1d4 plus 2. Click on that for me.
Rambo over here.
Right.
Oh.
Oh.
So Charles, I want to know, like, you're going to kill like 3 of these things. So you find this basically a steak knife, right? Not a huge kitchen knife like Roger had. You find this thing, and you're going to go to this thing. You're going to kill 3 of them. I don't know how though. I need you to tell me what happens that allows Kevin to do this.
So I start to channel my Indiana Jones, and so the rats are starting to come up, and I think I'm going to jump off the counter and just jab my knife as hard as I can.
And you start stabbing these things. And
Mhm.
you get like 2 or 3 of them as they're coming up, and they make this sound, just this sound as you do it. And the other rats react.
Mhm.
And we see them skitter off, and it's crazy because they almost just vanish into the walls and into the cabinets, and there's holes you didn't know were in the walls, and they skitter off there, and we just see them completely disperse.
Mhm. I think Charles lets out a huge war whoop because this is not like him, and he is pretty happy. He almost killed one of his friends, but kind of saved her in the end, maybe.
So surely you have this huge bruise forming on your thigh.
Yeah.
Where you got hit. And Paul, you see some bleeding on the bottom of your pants are frayed on your right leg, and you see some bleeding where these rats got to you.
And Shirley's kind of like heavy breathing, holding the pan. She's still kind of like squatted down where she had smashed a rat, and she's just kind of like trying desperately to regain her composure. And finally, she goes, "Okay, so that was a bad idea."
I want to go check on Paul because like he's bleeding.
Yeah, I'm only losing 1 hit point, but I will make a quick first aid roll to see if I can like tie
So if you
something.
do it to yourself, you have to do it at a disadvantage. Does anybody else have?
Yeah. Shirley will, after a second, Shirley will come over, and she's just like she bends down, looks at it, pulls some stuff out of her little fanny pack, and
Yeah, yours is probably better than mine anyway.
yeah, and I have a 60, so
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah. I'm a scout, of course I do.
Yeah.
I might have stabbed you by accident.
34 success. Go ahead and restore that hit point for me, Paul. Now, while
Thank you.
Shirley is taking care of Paul and doing her right out of the textbook, she's got a badge for this. She's immediately taking care of Paul's slight little scratch that's bleeding, but treating it like it is a a major gouge wound, right? This is some serious stuff, right, Shirley?
It's got
How
some
we-
hydrogen peroxide. She's like, this is gonna sting.
So Charles and Julia, I'm going to have each of you notice some things, and it's not going to take a roll. Charles, the one oven, there's two ovens side by side, and you're down there stabbing these rats, and they take off. There's a couple dead rat bodies, and they're kind of near where these two ovens are. The one oven where the door has been torn off, you look inside that oven, it's empty, kind of rusted out. In fact, the grate that you would set the food on is kind of like broken and rusted through. But you also notice that the other oven is open, and you smell burning, very similar to the burning you smelled upstairs, right? That something was burned inside of this oven, and it's slightly ajar, which is why you can smell it. Julia, by the door that leads to the hallway, on the wall, and this is going to freak the kids out, not these kids, but anybody watching who's less than 35 years old, there's a phone with a wire on the wall. It's attached to the wall. A phone. Not in your pocket.
Heresy.
That must be charging.
Anybody under the age of 35 has just said, why haven't they just called their parents from their cell phone? Like, this is dumb.
As someone under the age of 35, I guarantee you, I've seen a house phone in its short existence.
What are we doing?
Julie,
go ahead.
she's jumping down off the island, picking the phone up and dialing home.
Home.
So you dial your home phone, and no area code, right? Just 7 digits.
Yep, 7 digits.
You dial your home phone. Ring, ring.
His
Hello.
phone works.
Mom?
It's your mom.
Mom, we're in this scary house.
Click.
We
But it doesn't hang up. You just hear a click. And then you hear, "Are you okay, sweetie?" In your grandmama's voice.
she hangs up.
Sand roll.
God.
Maybe grandma's trying to help us. Don't hang up on her.
God damn it.
I need a 1d6.
Wait, can I use my luck points?
You can you spend 4 luck to make this?
Yeah, I wanna spend 4 luck to make this.
All right. So you spend the 4 luck.
Okay.
All right. And I just need a 1d2. So type in /r space 1d2.
Of course.
Drop 2
Okay.
sand for me.
Yes, sir. And I spent 4
Where does
luck.
that put you on your daily?
10 out of 14.
Okay, so you've got 4 more you can lose
Yeah.
today.
Sorry, I had to roll. I had to use my luck.
Yeah.
Oh, that was an easy spend. The big difference between 1d2 and 1d6. Big difference. What is Julia's reaction? You hang up that phone.
Okay. She's gonna breathe. Honestly, that her friends, she wouldn't have considered them friends until like tonight, about an hour ago. They've really been keeping a level head, and that really helps her. Like, okay, definitely a ghost. She sounds so nice though, because it's my grandma. I'm like, she wouldn't want to hurt me, but you know what? I'm gonna just hang up and yeah, and just kind of like sit with that. Like, she's gonna choose to keep this one in and be like, you know what? Maybe I was just hearing things this time, and that's okay. And she puts her wand, like she picks it up because she dropped it and put it like in back of her dress, and replaces it with the with the cast iron pot. Oh, she's ready for war. Whoo, whoo, a little bit freaked out and like, you know what? People are hurt. I'm just hearing a voice. It's not that bad. I could have got a rat on me. It's okay.
That's true.
Okay.
Paul is wrapped up. Charles, you have the smell coming from the oven.
And so you said the oven door's partially open?
It is.
Okay. So I'm going to take my new Rambo steak knife, hold it in my hand, and chanting "No rats, no rats," and slowly try to lower the door a little bit.
So without touching the door, using the steak knife, your new weapon of choice, you kind of pull on that door and you hear this, and then it, like, you know how like you can open the door and it easily opens and it stops, right? So you could leave it ajar, and then just you have to pull back a little bit on the brake, and then it clangs down. Inside of this oven, you see a pile of ashes. But among the ashes, you see bones. What are you better at, nature or science class?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Give me a nature roll then.
All right.
Ooh.
Very nice. A 10. That's a regular success. Unfortunately, though, you look at these bones and you realize, yeah, these aren't rat bones, right? Way too big to be rat bones. And like it's not like a ham bone or like chicken bones, and you've got your arm in front of you, and you've got kind of like the knife that you've used to kind of jar this open, and you look at the bone and then look at your femur, where your femur would be in the length of it, and look at the bone again, and you are 100% sure it is the forearm of somebody near your size. I need a sand roll.
Yep.
Okay, that is a success. So I only need you to take one sand.
Okay.
So I'm going to reset the scene real quick. Julia's just hung up the phone after talking to her grandma. We have got now Paul all patched up. Probably if it needed one Band-Aid, you've got 3 of them on you. Shirley has got making sure you're safe and sound. Kevin has opened up this oven, sees this pile of ashes, sees some bones in the ashes, and immediately, Charles, you recognize that this is a child's forearm.
Okay. I call everybody over to take a look. And
Okay, no more opening things.
Or picking up stuff.
do you remember the story about the monkey paw? It was a witch, I think, that took the monkey paw. Don't witches eat
No.
little kids?
Oh,
Do you think Roger's a witch?
we're all
Chuck,
just
when
kinda
you
like,
when you said
go ahead, sorry.
that the spell let them take control of the house, what does that mean?
I don't know. It was just a story.
So in the story, Charles, it was a story about some children that found a house out in the woods, and it was like in one of your pulp magazines, right? They have stories written by who we recognized much later, decades later, some of the greatest writers of science fiction and fantasy of all time. But back then, they were making 3 cents a word or 1 cent a word writing these pulp things, and it was a story about these kids that get lost in the woods. They find a cabin, they go inside of the cabin. There's a witch that owns the cabin, and this witch took the hand of a criminal, put a candle in the hand, and it allowed her to lock and prevent anybody from leaving the house. It allowed her to control the house and seal the house. So that's what you remember.
There's got to be a witch around here somewhere.
Is it like the old movie Wizard of Oz witch? Because
I
if
think
it's the,
she's meaner.
hmm,
What I'm hearing is we need to find the hand with the candle.
I think so.
So
But we've already been upstairs.
I'm
Not
not
in the
going in
attic.
the basement.
oh,
Been in the basement. I don't know if I want to go in
I
the
really
basement.
don't like the idea of the basement. We can't. What if we can't get out of it? What if Roger blocks us in?
What if we can't get out of the house?
Then we're going to be in the oven.
Why didn't Roger like that room where all the burning stuff happened? There was no
Honestly,
witch in that room.
we can check again.
I don't want to go back upstairs. I do not want to go back upstairs. One of us is going to fall through those steps, or if he catches us on the steps, and then we can't fight Roger on those steps. One of us will fall through and get hurt.
Hmm.
I don't know what to do.
We either got to look for that hand or go back to trying to trap Roger so he's not coming after us.
Well, so Roger has a knife. We have
I have a knife.
hands and knives. We are outnumbering him and outgunning him at this point. So if he comes up on us, we can.
He is bigger, stronger, faster, and killed his brother. But I think if we outsmart him, we can do this.
So Shirley looks at the door that goes back out to the hallway, and then she looks at she looks at the other door first, and then she looks at the other hallway, and she goes, "Oh, a phone. Have we
I wouldn't touch that.
I mean, this
Okay.
house is abandoned. It shouldn't even work. Nobody's
Uh,
paying the bills.
That's true. Okay, so let's try this door. Let's not go back
Shirley?
to the hallway. We made
You
enough
look-
noise. Roger knows where we are.
Shirley, when you looked at the phone
Uh-huh.
and, you know, Julie's like, no, don't mess with the phone. I think the reason you don't mess with the phone is you can see where rats have eaten through the wire that attaches the handset to the
Right.
phone.
Hmm. Okay, let's this door, and she points to the door that doesn't go into the hallway. Let's try this door. Everybody good? Are we ready?
You're limping pretty bad. Can we help that at all?
It's a bruise. Not much we can do. It just hurts.
I'm sorry.
It's there were rats. It's okay. It's okay. And she will kind of like gingerly limp herself over to the door, and every step it's a little bit better, you know. She's kind of over exaggerating it at first, and then
Milking it a little bit.
giving Charles the eyeball, you know, like
Mechanically speaking, is there anything we can do to get some of those?
Yeah, if
hit
somebody wants
points
to
back?
do a first aid roll, yeah, we can restore a little bit of hit points.
Maybe
Okay.
you can walk me through just like wrapping it or something.
Yeah,
Could-
so let's
first aid
let's
isn't-
do this. Yep, Paul, do a first aid, and then let's give you a bonus die because maybe Shirley's right there.
telling you what to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice, very nice. It's a hard success. Go ahead and give me a 1d4.
There you go.
All right, restore that 1 hit point. Okay, give me
Not a
just
ton
second.
you can do with a bruise, but
I've got to bring Kevin back in. Give me just 1 second. We can't see your pretty face, Kevin. We can see you in the chat. I just got to bring you into the overlay so the everybody else watching can see your beautiful face. Give me just a second. All right, we have Kevin back. All right, beautiful. All right, so we're going to the other door.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Shirley feels a little like upset because she let herself get so overwhelmed by the rats, and she didn't like manage her leadership position that she's put herself into. So this time she is like very determined. So she is going to walk over to the door and she goes to like really push it open, and then she kind of like stops and she just slowly like pushes it open.
So it's going to open in. It's not locked.
Okay, so pull it open. Yeah.
Yep. So you pull it open, and it's a staircase
It's the
About-
basement.
15 feet long and heads into darkness.
Oh God.
Julia's gonna walk over and just shut the door back. So, Shirley, stop opening stuff right away.
Well, we agreed on the door.
That's where we got to go though, right?
I don't. Where would the monkey paw be? She looks at
It would
Charles.
totally be in the basement.
I
don't-
know. What about the attic? It's equally as scary. My attic. Oh, it's not scary. My attic's pretty nice. Anyway,
I don't want to go downstairs though.
But
You remember
everybody
that-
knows the scariest place in the house is the basement. And if Roger is half the ass that we think he is, that's where he put what we need to get out of here. And that's where he set up some sort of stupid trap to scare us. But we're not getting out of here if we don't go down the steps.
I think you're right.
Like, I don't want to go down there either. Nobody wants to go down there, but we have one candle. We still have our candle, right?
Mhm.
Okay. We've got one candle. We've got 3 people. We can do this.
okay. I don't want to be like the wet blanket. But I don't know where Roger is. And I don't want to be stuck in the basement if he comes after us in the basement. If everyone goes, I'll go too, because I don't want to be alone.
So do we send 2 people down and 2 people to watch the door to watch for Roger?
Can we set up a trap to see if he opens the door?
I could probably manage that.
Okay. So let's do that. Let's set up a trap and yeah, let's. That way he can't get to us, right? Like, and we'll at least know, and we'll be ready. But I guarantee you, whatever he wants us to get, that's in the basement. We have to go down there. I don't want to, but we got to.
Okay. All right. We do the trap. We go in the basement.
Are there more candles in this room? Of course not.
Does
Will
anyone have a
somebody hold this?
flashlight?
I do.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
I suppose we could use that.
Why?
We haven't
She's
needed
never-
it.
Way to
I was
bury
saving the
lead,
battery.
asshole.
Yes, I do have a flashlight. Here it is.
Julia will hold the candle.
No, you can have the flashlight. Somebody I guess somebody hold the candle while I'm working on the
So
door.
yeah, Shirley will turn to Paul and she'll go, "Okay, so this is your area. Like, what are we doing?"
Yes.
Just a noise trap, right? Just so that we.
Hmm.
I mean, if it stops him from moving for a little bit too, that'd be great too. But yes, noise trap would be fine.
Can we push him down the stairs?
I-
We get him over there?
We can put a trip wire or a wire, so if he comes down, he trips.
All right, I got an idea.
Okay. I will help.
Okay, well, I've got firecrackers in my bag. So I'm thinking something that'll set those off when the door opens. So like a friction trap when the door pulls a friction and lights the firecrackers.
Are we doing it to both doors? Which door?
The door to the basement after we go. go down
Got it.
there.
Got it. Got it.
So
got it.
it'll let us know for sure, and hopefully it'll start one too.
All right, so let's do a fix stuff.
Point of order. Play with matches description says make traps.
Let's do play with matches. I love you, DC.
I read it before I started theory crafting on this.
Very nice. That's a hard success. So I'm going to make DZ explain exactly how this contraption works. So how does Paul manage to make it so if the door opens, it will set off the firecrackers?
I think I've got like the match strip, like the friction strip of a matchbox or something, and I just like have like a match taped to the door or something. So when the door opens, it pulls it across, and then lights the firecrackers, hopefully, which are also like just basically in contact with the match head.
Perfect. You've got that all set up. We see everybody's in the stairwell going down to what we assume is the basement. We see slowly Paul closing the door, kind of holding something as it happens, and at the last second he lets go, and we hear
Nobody
the door.
forget this is here when we're going back.
And it's dark, so nobody can really see it. But Shirley is like super impressed with Paul. Like she's like,
Yeah.
from the lock picking to this, Shirley's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is
Charles,
Quite
can you give me a-
awesome.
yeah,
Charles,
yeah.
give me a spooky stuff roll.
Okay. Oh, really?
All right. So here's what I'm going to give you with that failure. Because I'm not a huge fan of nothing happens. Don't ignore the fact that I asked you to roll. Here's what I will tell you is the talk of the flashlight and the candle, and remember that, the magician's hand story with the criminal, all of that starts making you think, and you're like, wait a minute, wasn't there something about candles in your story? There was something about the witch having candles, but you can't remember why it's important. But you just suddenly are like, yeah, it had the hand, and there was a candle in it, but there was something else about candles. That's all I'm going to give you.
All right. And I relay that to everybody because there are a lot of candles in this house.
All right. Well, it's your job to think about the story and figure out what those candles mean. 'Cause we've
Let's
never read
just-
that story.
Wait,
Well, let's just pay attention to candles when they come up and just take a look at them.
Shirley's in delegation.
Julia looks worried because she has a candle in her hand, and she's like, "Shall I
I
blow
don't,
this out?" So
I don't think so. Maybe.
Well, let's go see this completely rat-free basement.
wait a
That had to have
second.
been all of them.
Maybe it's something with as they may be walking more down the steps. Maybe it has something to do with the only room that didn't have candles in it that Roger wouldn't go into.
Because he was afraid
I'm
to go
assuming
there.
that's why it didn't have candles, because he wouldn't go in there.
I think
I'm
Charles
gonna
is
blow
going
out this candle and put
We
it
have a flashlight if you want to blow
Keep the
out
fi-
the
keep
we
the-
can.
As soon as Shirley was like, "Well, if you want,"
I
You blow
think
out the candle?
yeah, yeah.
Do you keep the candle?
She
I'll take it
wouldn't.
if you don't want it.
I would say she wouldn't set it down. She'll probably keep it with her.
Okay.
I think Charles is going to pull out that little piece of mirror again and take a look and see if he can see anything in it. Also, kind of, like he did the other day, kind of look around to see if he's just getting reflections or if there's something odd about it.
So you start to do that, Charles. You start to look in the mirror and kind of look at this hall area right as the mirror, and you look, and everything's reflecting and showing as it should, but as you kind of turn the mirror back to you, this piece of mirror, to kind of like put it back in the little sack that you had it in, you could swear like something, when you sense movement, right? So you feel like, you're looking for somebody for hide and seek, and you look and you see that there's nobody there behind the couch, and just as it gets just at the periphery of your vision, you feel like there's movement.
Mhm.
That's what you sense. And in the mirror, that movement is not a reflection. It just feels like there's movement within the mirror.
Okay. Charles
And you're
probably would
not
jump
sure
a
that's
little
what
bit.
you saw. Yeah.
I think he'd also be quiet about it because he doesn't want people to think he's crazy.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
nuts.
That'd be the craziest stuff we saw all day.
I don't believe you.
What are we
Yeah, I
doing?
think Shirley's gonna
What do
head
we got
back
in the basement?
upstairs. Yeah,
So who's got the flashlight?
Paul does.
Probably gave it to. I probably gave it to Shirley while
Okay,
I was
so
working on the
Shirley
thing,
does,
and
yeah.
since you're in front anyway.
So she's still got her handbook clutched against her chest, like really tightly, and the flashlight in one hand.
So
Charles has his knife out.
You start to work your way down, and you head down the steps. They're not quiet steps, but they're far sturdier than the steps that led to the second floor. And you just headed down, and the steps open up into a room. And the room is wider than it is deep. There is a archway, like a doorway with no door ahead of you. And it leads to darkness. There are shelves all along the wall of this room. And based off of how the shelves are built and stacked, and the fact that you see canned goods, mason jars, what was probably at some point like boxes of rice and things like that, but obviously these rats have gotten to them at this point, so they're busted open. But you see, scattered on the floor. This is obviously some sort of pantry of some sort. There's a furnace to the far right, a large furnace in the far right corner. Across from the furnace is another doorway with no door. Anything that was not in glass or canned, so any boxes and things like that, have been shredded. And if there was ever food in there, you can see just like the pieces all over the floor. So any non-sealed food is gone. You smell mold. You smell old food. That smell. There's a dampness, and it's a dampness that you can smell. You can almost feel as you kind of get underground.
And Shirley will sort of pan the flashlight around, like trying to get into the other room if she can, and just sort of like get an idea of what's in front of them.
Going like straight across.
Yeah, just like panning it out, trying to like past the archway.
Gotcha. So as you start to walk, everybody's just following Shirley at this point.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we got Shirley with her flashlight, the only light that can be seen, right? So if she does not have her flashlight on it, and it's not some huge halogen flashlight, it's a 1984 crap flashlight, right? That blinks a little bit because the batteries aren't great. And she's kind of going, and you guys all smell this and look, and you start to work your way into this other dark room. I need luck rolls from everybody.
Oh,
I shouldn't have blew out that candle. She's having double.
uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Hey.
Uh-oh.
Failures across the board. So this is what I'm gonna do. Surely, as you're walking, the doorway that you're walking into is a wide door. It's like 10 foot wide, right? So it's much wider than like the doors upstairs, except maybe not quite as wide as the one that led to that dining area. And the shelves are built out of wood, and they kind of come up to it. So as you're kind of panning that, you see these mason jars and these canned goods on either side. Maeve, isn't paying as much attention to what's to the left and to the right of her as she is focused on what's in front of her. And everybody sees it in slow motion as Maeve's elbow hits a mason jar on one of the shelves as she gets to just that doorway, right? And we see the mason jar slow motion fall off the shelf and just go and just shatter in this huge noise. And by instinct, Shirley, you immediately take the flashlight to the noise, right? That happens like right to your back right. So we see the light go from the darkened room she was headed into over to this broken mason jar. And on the floor, right at everybody's feet, is this green goo, like this viscous green goo that you can see lining the inside of the broken, like the top half and the bottom half of this mason jar have been broken apart. And you can tell by the residue that this green goo was in this mason jar. And it's kind of spilled out with the broken glass interspersed in this green viscous like thick glue. So it's not like water. It's kind of like not yet solidified jello, right? So it doesn't just like spread over. And you see the glass pieces from the breaking of the jar. You also see the eyeballs.
Sure.
We'll do sand rolls when we start episode 3. Let's go to credits. All right, episode 2 in the can. Let's start with, I'm going to pick on you again, Kevin. Kevin, for you, what were some of the highlights for you as a player? What really worked for you in episode 2?
I kind of expected, was it Ace? I kind of expected Ace to help us out a little bit, but of course he got murdered right off the bat. So
This is
so
what
I
we
think,
call an early character introduction to establish threat.
yeah. So I think Ace's death and then finding the kid's femur in the oven, that was pretty bad. To let you know that this is really going to be serious for us.
So Kevin, things I like to do at the end of the streams now is a thing called Stars and Wishes. So stars is where you pick somebody in the cast, a moment, right, where you're going to give them your gold star. So who gets your star in today's episode?
Yeah, I think I'm going to give the star to DK for setting up the trap.
For DZ?
Yeah, or DZ, sorry. Yeah,
That's
for
okay.
setting up the trap. Sorry.
No, that was
I'd love
cool.
yeah, I'd love to see that come to fruition or
Mhm.
backfire horribly. Either way.
You all right. And then Kevin, the wishes part is that I'd like to know what you're wishing for next session, right? So what do you want from as a player? What would you like to happen or to learn or to see? What is something you're wishing for in episode 3?
Yeah, I think so. The idea of this witch is really starting to interest me a little bit. You know, what, first of all, is there really a witch? or is it something completely different? And what's the motivation? So we already found, um, you know, uh, bones from a kid. Evidently, there's eyeballs and slime jars. So what's going on here? Um, so I think it's going to get pretty spooky. In the basement, for some reason, it keeps reminding me of the John Wayne Gacy as the clown. I do not want to go to the basement.
That was floorboards. Totally different.
Okay.
I love that you know that, DC.
Crawl space, not a full basement.
All right, so let's slide over to you. A slightly different question for you, DZ. Then we'll do stars and wishes. But what was the most immersive moment in the session? What was the session where you felt like you were there, that you could see what was happening? Was there a moment that
Um,
really clicked for you as a player?
like immersion wise, I think the rat fight. I could very easily visualize what everybody was doing, and everybody like it wasn't, some D&D fights are like I move adjacent to the orc and I hit them with my thing. Like everybody was doing a really different thing um, at different times, so I had a really clear picture of all of that. Yeah.
All right, Star.
Star I think has to go to Shadika again for two things. At first it was gonna be for your be a pal role to snap me out of it. Uh, just because that was cute. Um, but also it's tied now because your instinct to jump up onto the island at the rat swarm really cracked me up. So
And it totally
they're
fit,
both.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, wishes, DZ. What are some wishes you have for episode 3? This is DZ, not Paul.
Yeah. Yes. Paul's wishes are to extricate himself from the house. My wishes would be, I think to figure out if Roger is still Roger or if he's just dead. Because like if he was, and like also what he's up to, because he's not coming after us. He seems like he's corralling us more than coming after us. Because he could have caught up to us during that rat fight. He could have caught us when we were upstairs. If he just wanted to kill us, like he could have been doing that. He's not doing that. So I'm hoping to get some answers on whether he is the witch, if he's dabbling in witchcraft at a young age, or if he's just a tool of the witch, if there is one.
Shadika. So we learned some things this episode. What do you think was the most significant? What do you know now that you think is significant compared to what you knew at the end of episode 1?
The monkey paw story.
Yeah.
That is one of the most significant things. Just because that at least gives me something to grasp onto and kind of theory craft around it of what's happening. So it might be the monkey paw situation, but different, or it could just be completely something else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the real important piece. As someone who absolutely loves horror, and I'm like, oh wow, this is happening. But as an 11-year-old, I can't like
Sure.
act that out. Like,
Yep. Yep. All right, your Star.
Oh my gosh. When the rats got knifed. that that was because when I jumped on the table, I didn't even think to try on the island. I didn't think to try and find like a sharp object. I was just like blunt instrument 100% of the way. But then I was like, okay, he got a knife, and then it was just like killed 3, and then they ran away. I was like, oh, thank you so much.
What's so cool about that for me, okay, I'm with you 100%. What's so cool about for me is, obviously with the dice led there, right? I mean, he paid to have the luck to find the knife. But there's also the character, right? Like this character's the weirdo, right? So the kid that like everybody was like, God, he's so weird. And to have Charles like find the steak knife and go Rambo on these rats, just like I loved it as a character moment because I feel like it totally fit versus Julia doing it. Right.
Yeah.
It's a hard time. So I loved that. Absolutely loved that. All right. Wishes.
I wish to find out what's happening, but not like I wish we don't go directly into the witch's lair right away, but we're in the basement and nothing ever happens good in the basement.
True. This is true story.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So Maeve, later on today, someone says, "Hey, what have you been up to?" And you say, "I have been playing to this Call of Cthulhu game. It's Kid Cthulhu." And what are the three things you would tell them about your experience over these two episodes? What are the headlines if someone says, "What have you been up to?" and you're trying to describe what's been happening over these last two episodes? What are the headlines?
I would say that it is very reminiscent of those 80s movies, scary movies where like it's still obviously geared towards kids, but it's genuinely scary. You know, there are aspects of old 80s movies that are like, okay, this is legitimately frightening, or this is legitimately like nerve-wracking. But you know, it's not playing down. It's made for kids, but it's not playing down to kids. And that's kind of how I feel this sort of is going, is that it is very, very scary, but it still has that energy of you know, of the Goonies, of you know,
Stranger Things.
maybe not quite as goofy as Monster Squad, but like, you know, it's up there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I would also say that like the um the pacing of it has just been fantastic so
Oh,
far.
good.
Yeah.
You know, the level of like the up and down sort of roller coaster, you know, we're up here, then we take a moment to breathe, and we're back up into it, then we take a moment to breathe, has been really really great. And then along with that is just the pure suspense. Like, you know, we went into this going maybe one, you know, definitely not one, maybe two, could be three episodes. Like, you know, I've spent the past 2 weeks or 2 weeks going, when are we going to get the next? When is it going to happen again?
Glad.
What are we going to do? How is this going to resolve? So
So you mentioned pacing, which is a wonderful opportunity for me to plug something. So at Nova in DC, which is over Labor Day weekend, there's a great convention in just hotels right next to Reagan Airport. It's Nova. It's always been my favorite gaming convention. It has a focus mostly on miniature games. So miniature gaming is a big part of Nova, but as they have grown and become what I think is becoming one of the more premier conventions in the United States, they've really expanded. So you see a lot of board game stuff coming up, and we're also seeing seminars emerge and more and more role playing being discussed. So a few things. One, I'm teaching a couple seminars at Nova this year. They've asked me to teach. I'm going to be teaching GM tips is one of the classes I'm teaching at Nova, and the focus, which made me think of it, Maeve, is the focus is on pacing. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of different GM techniques, but one of the big ones that I really want to talk about is pacing, because I think it's one that is better talked about in a conversational, thing. I think there's only 20 people max allowed into the
Wow.
class, and I think it's about half full so far. So if you're coming to Nova, come by, sign up for my class. If you search for Craig Shipman among the events, you'll find all of the classes I'm teaching. I'm also teaching one on streaming RPGs. I'm also teaching one on starting your own podcast and growing your podcast. I'm going to also host and be the kind of the master of ceremonies for the Big Weird seminar with the designers. So we'll be talking with them, and then I'm also going to be GMing two different games. If you're interested, I'm going to be running Dungeon Crawl Classics at Nova. If you want to come play with me for 4 hours there. I'm also going to be playing Mothership, but that's already filled up. That filled up very, very quickly.
I took that. Sorry.
Not
So
shocked by that.
we'll be doing that over the weekend as well. So coming up real quick, we've got on the 16th, I think, is our next live stream. That's going to be at 8:00 p.m. We're going to be playing the second episode of 7th Sea. That is being run by another guest GM. We've got Zoe from the Writers Room, which is a fantastic podcast for 7th Sea content. But we also have John Wick, the person who created and wrote and designed 7th Sea as a player, along with myself. And we're having a very, very good time with that. So that'll be 8:00 on the 16th. After that, I think the next one that we definitely have firmed up is Forbidden Lands at the end of June. Will be yet another episode of Forbidden Lands, which has been immensely popular. Maeve, talk to me about your channel real quick.
All right. So unfortunately not tonight because we've had a little bit of scheduling issues, but next Sunday we will be doing our next live stream of the City of Mist role-playing game. It is great. It is a noir style superhero / urban fantasy kind of story with the Powered by the Apocalypse. It's kind of like Powered by the Apocalypse meets Fate.
It is.
And it's a really cool system. It'll be on my Twitch, MX Mave, or you can find the old episodes on my YouTube, which is Foxtail Games. Check it out. We're doing City of Mist this season. Once we're finished up there, we're going to be running Masks, which is one of the best PTBA games out there.
That's
so excited.
fantastic. All right. Any other plugs? Shadika, DZ, Kevin, anything you want to plug? All right. Oh, go ahead, Shadika.
No.
All right. So you guys know the rest. Like, subscribe. I've got a Patreon if you want to support Third Floor Wars on Patreon. That's how these 4 players were able to get their seats at this game. So patrons always get first dibs on seats for our streams. Had a really good time. We're going to talk about schedules so we can get episode 3 of this locked down. And you watch this whole thing. Yeah, I'm talking to you watching right now. I appreciate you sitting around and staying with us. Take care, everybody. Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.